What if everything is conscious? Have you ever looked at a rock and wondered if it's watching you back? Sounds crazy, right? But what if that pebble, that tree, even the light streaming through your window, all have a form of awareness? This isn't science fiction. It's a real philosophical idea gaining traction in both neuroscience and cosmology. Welcome to the mind-bending world of panpsychism. The idea that consciousness isn't something rare or exclusive to humans, but a fundamental feature of the universe. Not just in brains, not just in animals, but in everything. Yes, even in a grain of sand. In this video, we're going to break down this mind-expanding theory into something deeply understandable and impossibly fascinating. We'll explore why some of the greatest thinkers in science and philosophy now believe that consciousness may be as fundamental as time, space, or gravity. And if that's true, what does it say about you? Let's begin at the edge of awareness itself. What is consciousness? Really? Before we can understand panpsychism, we need to ask the obvious. What is consciousness? Science struggles to define it. Is it your ability to think, to feel, to observe yourself? Despite all our technological progress, we have no concrete explanation for how matter, like the brain, somehow creates experience. This is what philosophers call the hard problem of consciousness. How does physical stuff lead to subjective experience? Imagine this. You can explain how neurons fire, how chemicals move in the brain, but nowhere in that explanation is the feeling of pain, or the color red, or the sensation of love. These are qualia, the personal, internal experiences we all have. The deeper scientists and philosophers dig into the brain, the more they realize we can measure activity, but we can't explain the awareness behind it. This mystery has led some to a radical solution. Maybe consciousness didn't arise from matter. Maybe it was always there. Enter panpsychism, a conscious universe. Panpsychism flips the entire script. Instead of thinking consciousness is something produced by complexity, like a computer running code, it suggests that even the tiniest particles of matter have a sliver of consciousness. You heard that right. According to panpsychists, everything from electrons to stars may have some form of awareness, not like human thought, of course, but an incredibly basic proto-consciousness. Think of it like pixels on a screen. A single pixel means nothing, but trillions of them, arranged together, make a picture. Similarly, human consciousness could be the result of countless tiny minds combining into one unified experience. This may sound absurd, but it actually solves many scientific problems. It provides a bridge between physics and mind, two fields that usually ignore each other. And it raises a shocking question. If everything has consciousness, are we surrounded by thinking matter all the time? The science supporting panpsychism. So, is there any real science behind this? Surprisingly, yes. While panpsychism may sound spiritual or philosophical, it's now being seriously considered by leading thinkers like Dr. Christoph Koch, David Chalmers, and even Sir Roger Penrose, a Nobel-winning physicist. One theory gaining momentum is Integrated Information Theory, IIT. It suggests that any system that integrates information, not just human brains, has some degree of consciousness. That means your brain scores very high. But even a smartphone, a thermostat, or a single-celled organism could score a tiny bit. In quantum physics, some experiments even suggest that particles behave differently when observed, as if they're aware of being watched. This doesn't prove panpsychism, but it aligns with it, that awareness is baked into reality. Add to that the mystery of wave function collapse in quantum mechanics, where particles seem to choose a state only when measured, and you start to see why many scientists are starting to ask, is the universe not just a machine, but a mind? Panpsychism versus traditional science. Traditional science views the universe as a giant clock, mechanical, lifeless, and unconscious. In this view, consciousness is an emergent property, something that shows up only after billions of years of evolution and the right biological complexity. But this model has deep flaws. For one, no one has explained how matter becomes mind. It's like saying a pile of bricks will eventually become self-aware if you stack them high enough. Panpsychism offers an elegant alternative. Consciousness was never created, it's always been here, just like space, time, and energy. It doesn't need to be produced, only organized. This turns everything upside down. It means that reality isn't made of dead stuff that accidentally became aware. It's made of consciousness all the way down. Matter is just the physical appearance of something deeper, awareness. As crazy as it sounds, panpsychism might be the only theory that doesn't rely on wishful thinking or philosophical gaps. It takes consciousness seriously rather than brushing it under the rug. What if it's true? Okay, let's say panpsychism is right. What does that mean for you? For reality? For everything we know? First, it means you're not alone. Not in a "there are aliens" sense, but in a deeper, stranger way. Every object, every particle, everything around you has some sliver of experience. That stone on the ground, a silent observer. That gust of wind, a moving form of awareness. Second, it suggests a moral shift. If everything is conscious to some degree, then maybe everything deserves respect. Maybe cutting down a tree, or even burning a field, is more ethically complex than we thought. Third, it reframes our identity. You're not just a person inside a skull. You're part of a giant web of consciousness. Your awareness is not an island. It's a wave in a vast ocean of universal mind. And finally, it gives new meaning to life. Not just yours, but all life, all existence. If awareness is everywhere, then maybe the universe is not something to conquer or understand. Maybe it's something to listen to. The origins of panpsychism. Panpsychism isn't new. In fact, it might be one of the oldest ideas in human thought. Thousands of years ago, ancient philosophies already hinted at this truth. The Stoics of ancient Greece believed the universe had a soul, a logos, a rational spirit that runs through everything. In Hinduism, the idea of Atman, the soul, being present in all things is central. Buddhism too speaks of interconnectedness and sentient nature. Even indigenous cultures across the globe, from the Amazon to Australia, have long believed that rivers, rocks, and forests hold spirits, or at least a kind of awareness. Were these just myths? Or were they early glimpses into a truth modern science is only beginning to rediscover? Panpsychism may be one of the few philosophical ideas that bridges ancient wisdom with cutting-edge science. And maybe that's no coincidence. Ancient wisdom meets modern science. Modern science often dismisses ancient views as superstition, but what happens when modern tools start confirming ancient intuitions? When physicists look at quantum entanglement, where particles communicate instantly across space, or when neuroscientists admit they don't know how consciousness arises, the bare walls between science and philosophy begin to crumble. It's like the universe is nudging us. You're missing something. Consider this. Ancient traditions taught that the universe is alive, aware, and interconnected. Now, quantum fields suggest everything is entangled, and panpsychism proposes consciousness is embedded into all matter. It's as if the language is different, but the message is the same. What we're seeing today isn't the fall of science, it's the evolution of understanding, a merging of logic with intuition, measurement with meaning. Can we prove consciousness is everywhere? Here's the hard question. Can we prove panpsychism is true? Well, maybe not yet, but that doesn't mean it's just guesswork. Remember, we can't even prove someone else is conscious. We assume it because they act like us. So when it comes to a rock, or an atom, or a photon, we can't say for sure it's not conscious. We just assume it isn't, because, well, it doesn't look like us. But that's a very human-centered view, isn't it? Some scientists propose using information integration tests on systems like brains, circuits, or even clouds to measure how much information they process. If they process enough, maybe they're conscious in some form. It's a bit like trying to see the invisible using science not to prove consciousness directly, but to measure the signs of it. As our technology evolves, we might soon be able to ask, are we living in a sea of silent awareness without knowing it? You are the universe experiencing itself. And now, we return to the most beautiful idea of all. If panpsychism is true, then you are not separate from the universe. You are not just a mind trapped in a body, floating through space. You are space. You are the stars. You are the cosmic dance itself, with a front row seat to its own unfolding. As philosopher Alan Watts once said, you are the universe looking at itself from billions of different angles. Think about that. You with your thoughts, dreams, fears, and hopes are not alone in your awareness. You are woven into the very fabric of existence, a single thread in a conscious tapestry. So the next time you sit quietly, listen. That silence might not be empty. It might be the voice of the universe, waiting for you to remember what you truly are. What if consciousness isn't the exception, but the rule? What if it's not something we gain, but something we are always have been and always will be? In a world where rocks may dream, where stars might whisper, and where every atom hums with its own silent awareness, you begin to realize you're not walking through a dead universe. You're surrounded by a living one. Panpsychism doesn't just change science, it changes you. It invites you to listen to your surroundings differently, to pause and wonder, is this moment watching me back? Maybe the next great leap in human understanding won't come from building bigger telescopes or faster computers, but from simply asking a deeper question. What if the universe is already awake, and we're only just beginning to open our eyes? If this blew your mind even a little, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that like button if you felt something shift. Drop a comment. Do you believe everything has consciousness? Subscribe to explore more ideas that bend time, space, and reality itself. And hey, share this video with someone who still thinks a rock is just a rock. Because maybe it's not.